Oh, hey, Preverst. I was just looking at this picture and trying to figure out what it is. It's really hard to tell because it's just made up of all these separate little dots, separate points, but they're not connected. I'm not sure what to do. What do you think I should do? Connect the dots. What a great idea. Okay, so I would start over here at the number 1, and then I would draw a line to the number 2, and then the 2 to the 3. If I connect the dots, it's going to start making a shape. It's going to make something that makes sense that I can understand. Great idea. And actually, that reminds me of something else. That reminds me of researching animals on our note-taking page. I use these little dots to put my pieces of information. So I was learning about badgers, and I know that they eat worms, they eat small animals, they eat ground squirrels, they eat fruit, they eat birds' eggs, they hunt, they have burrows, they are black and white. But when I look at this with all the different dots and different pieces of information, it doesn't really look like a teaching book, like the ones that I was reading on Epic and Raz Kids and the ones in my library. So I think we need to take your advice and connect the dots somehow. But how? Whoa, 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 not like that. We don't want to do a connection from number 3 to number 20. We need to connect the ones that go together, that make sense, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we look back at our note page, the things that make sense together are the ones that are under the same heading. Because remember, we have our 4 headings on this research page. We have food, behavior, habitat, and physical characteristics. So if I want to connect the dots in a way that makes sense, I want to just zoom in on one section. And I'm going to start with this one. So, okay, food. What do they eat? I want to put this information into a teaching book. So I want to write proper sentences. So I need to get some book paper and get started. All right. Just going to move myself out of the way. So the first thing that I notice or that I know is that everything in this box is about the badger's food. So if I want to make a page or a chapter that's all about food, I can give it a title. I can give it a heading, just like we've talked about when we were looking at nonfiction books. Headings tell us what all the information on that page is going to be about. So let's see. Okay, so a good heading for this page that's all about food and what badgers eat would be, how about badger food? Great. Okay, now I want to take my jot notes, which are these separate words, worms, small animals, ground squirrels, fruit, and birds' eggs, and I want to turn them into complete sentences to make a book. So I'm going to start on my lines. Here I go. They eat worms. They eat small animals. They eat ground squirrels. They eat worms. They eat small animals. They eat ground squirrels. It sounds a little disconnected, kind of boring. I wonder if I can make it a little bit smoother. I need to connect the dots. So I can connect some of these pieces of information together, and I can do that using connecting words. Okay, let's start this over again. Instead of saying badgers eat worms, period, badgers eat small animals, period, I can connect these ideas and make a longer sentence. Watch this. Badgers eat worms and, that's my connecting word, small animals, period. We don't want that random capital there. So now I just connected these first two points into one sentence. It sounds way better. Badgers eat worms and small animals. Okay. And small animals and ground squirrels? Should I do a new sentence about ground squirrels? I'm going to use another connecting word. Badgers eat worms and small animals like, that's another connecting word, ground squirrels. I just took 3 points and turned it into one sentence by using connecting words like and like. Badgers eat worms and small animals like ground squirrels. What do you think my next sentence should be? Badgers eat fruit. Badgers eat birds' eggs. Or could I connect them with a connecting word? Sometimes badgers eat fruit and birds' eggs. I love it. Sometimes badgers eat fruit or birds' eggs. Badgers eat worms and small animals like ground squirrels. Sometimes badgers eat fruit or birds' eggs. I changed my last connecting word to or so that you could see another one. So far I've used or, like, and to connect my dots from my research page. And I know that it makes sense to connect most of them because they're all under the same heading of food, which is why they belong in this chapter in my teaching book about badger food. Okay, so now I've written complete sentences about all the facts that I had in my section of my paper about the food that badgers eat, which means I'm ready to move on to another chapter. But first I want to make sure that I add a picture and check for spelling and punctuation and all that stuff. And when I'm all done, that chapter, then I can go back and start another one. So let's see, maybe the next one could be behavior. I'm ready to connect the dot. Wait a second, there's only one dot. There's only one piece of information about the badger's behavior. How can I write a complete sentence with connecting words if there's only one thing? All I could write would be badgers hunt. This won't do. I'm going to have to go back to Epic and find some more information about what badgers do. And while I'm at it, more about where they live and how they look so that I can write a chapter for each of them that's as full as this one. I want you guys to do the same. I can't wait to see your All About books. Oh, but before you go, check it out. When we connect the dots, we get a more clear idea of what we're trying to say. What is this animal? Did you guess a fish? Happy writing.